Hello and welcome to Secrets of Organ Playing podcast. We are your hosts, Vidas
and
We've been mastering secrets of organ playing for more than 20 years and sharing them on this blog since 2011.
On this show, which we create from our home in Vilnius, Lithuania, we strive to help you grow in every area of organ playing, including practice, technique, repertoire, sight reading, hymn playing, improvisation, composition, music theory, harmony, and many others.
Our hope is to help you become a complete musician, or what we call as total organist, a program which we have created to help you reach your dreams faster than you would do on your own.
If you are new here, we invite you to subscribe to receive free updates of this blog at organduo.lt. By subscribing, you will also receive free video how to master any organ composition and 10-day organ playing mini course.
And now let's go to the podcast for today. So, Jeremy, I'm so delighted that we're finally meeting face to face and be able to talk to you. And it's really a pleasure to get to know you better after all those long months that you've been on the team that actually transcribes fingering and pedaling for us, right? I'm so happy
absolutely.
and thankful to you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, let's start our conversation, Jeremy, about your background. How did you get into the organ world, and most specifically, how did you first fell in love with the organ? Do you remember the story?
Yeah. Well, my dad is a Lutheran minister, and the church that he was working at was looking at trying to get me to start taking organ lessons. So they paid for the original organ lessons. That was when I was 13 or 14. So a long time ago. Wasn't really into it at the time, but when my father moved to another church, they had a really great organist there, a guy by the name of Jim Boschker. And I remember actually what made me fall in love with it. The instrument was at one postlude, he was playing Guilmant's March on a Theme of Handel, Lift Up Ye Heads. Yeah. And when that fugue started, people started coming back into the church, and that slowly built over time. And I just fell in love with the piece. I fell in love with the organ. I took lessons when I was in college. I have my doctorate of music in piano performance. And so my first job after I received my doctorate was in a small town called Blue Mountain. And there was a church there looking for an organist, and it was a great extra money. So I started playing the organ more extensively and starting studying even more at that point. Mm-hmm. And that's really kind of when it took off. That was about 15 years ago now. Mm-hmm. And so,
wonderful story. Have you ever played this piece afterwards?
I have. I did learn it about 5 years ago. I used it for the weekend after Easter. Mm-hmm. It's a great piece. Great piece.
You know, Jeremy, I cannot stop but wonder at your prolific feedback on our Basecamp communication channel. You every day, basically, without even missing a beat, give our community the details. What have you been working on, right? And you're answering all those questions you receive. Is that not too difficult for you?
Well, I do miss a couple of days, but it kind of gets me into a routine. And that usually at the end of the day, while my wife and I are watching some television, I'll kind of fill in the gaps on what I've done on the organ during the day and what I've been looking at and other things like that. So it takes about 15 minutes at the end of the day to get all of those things typed in.
Yes, those insights are wonderful, and the people actually are noticing you and sometimes commenting you, right? Not everybody who is in our community is active on Basecamp, but those who do usually report much more faster development in organ playing, I would say, right? And also increased motivation to practice.
Yeah, I do love that about the base camp. That we do have that little community that we are encouraging each other and giving each other hints on how to fix things or what we're working on. I remember I've been working on that Dorian fugue for a year now.
Yes.
The Bach 539, and I think I wouldn't have kept going without somebody saying, "Oh, you're doing it this speed" or something like that. So.
Yeah. And now I notice that other pieces that you're playing also, you're measuring the metronome markings and at which speed you are playing, sort of documenting your day. It's your like little organ diary, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yes.
I tried doing that I have a book that I was doing that in for a while, and it's just easier to do it online.
It is.
Yeah.
I like journals and handwriting stuff, but it's getting increasingly difficult to do this by hand. One of these days, maybe I will have willpower to do it the hard way, but not yet.
Exactly.
Yes. When you just have a couple of buttons to press, it's much easier on the keyboard, obviously, and you still have to think about it all day long.
Right. And I teach at a college, and so while I'm even putting these things into the base camp, I'm trying to pay attention to my writing and sentence structure and all that stuff. So it keeps me thinking about that as well. If I'm going to force my students to do it, I better be doing it as well.
Well, yeah. Do you actually your students? Do you have tell us a little bit more about your teaching activities, right? What kind of college is that, and what do you do there?
I teach at Briarcliff University in Sioux City, Iowa, in the United States. It's a very small Franciscan liberal arts college. So I was hired as a general education instructor for teaching music appreciation and music history, and then kind of catch-all for whatever the other instructors didn't want to teach. So I've taught world music and music and technology, kind of finale software.
Yes.
And I teach organ when I have students for it, and I've taught piano. I accompany the singers, I accompany the choirs, and I play for all the services and everything they need me for. So it keeps me busy. It's a full-time gig, and then I also have a job at a church in town where I'm the organist, pianist. So,
do you find that having multiple streams of work is beneficial to your, let's say, career, or would you rather do just one single focused work?
there are days I want to just do one thing, but it's kind of I'm really enjoying teaching at two different levels. That my music history and my music appreciation are completely two different sets of people, and just watching somebody finally listen to a piece of music for the first time and realize what's going on in it is fun to see. But then also in my history class, so we started medieval music yesterday, and seeing them start getting into the philosophies of the time, that the music of the spheres and everything, hearing that for the first time, that's also fun. So I think if I just did music appreciation all the time and nothing else, it would be a little demoralizing, because I wouldn't be able to get into this higher thinking skills or higher thinking about music that I really enjoy.
Yes. Do you enjoy writing about music?
I have written about music. I've written a couple of reviews for the journal of, what is that journal? Music Educators Journal.
Yes.
Finding time to do it with my class load and organ practice and piano practice and everything I'm doing is difficult. So I don't do enough writing about music. I should.
But it's related, right? Thinking and writing and reading, probably it's all related. And our community of total organists and secrets of organ playing, obviously, would do very well if they took example from you, right? About thinking about music, and maybe even reporting their daily activities, what they do in terms of organ playing. This keeps people on track in terms of their goals, obviously, and if they do this regularly, it becomes a habit, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, yeah, there will be days when you have that setback. You didn't quite get to where you were the day before, but then you can go back a month and see that you were just working on one little passage, and now you're working on entire pages of stuff. And that's I know. I take lessons from Dr. J. Gordon Christensen down in Council Bluffs, and he says, if I don't see you for about a month, I can hear that leap forward. But we hear it every single day, and we don't realize those jumps we make in our playing.
I knew one Christensen, J. Gordon Christensen. He was in Nebraska once. Is that
That's him?
That's him. Oh,
That's him.
give him my regards.
He retired from the church at Imperial, and he moved in Council Bluffs, and he started a music conservatory down there at the church.
That's wonderful.
He says hi too.
Thank you. We called him Mr. C.
Yep.
He likes that. And Oshra and I were playing recitals each year when we were studying at UNL. And he had this concert series in his church, and actually scholarship for students to go and play from UNL to Imperial. And it was really wonderful experience, not only driving all the way from Lincoln to Imperial.
He told me he loaned you his Corvette.
Exactly, that was my first classic car experience. And the last, no, not the last. I drove a Cadillac the same night.
Oh, nice.
His community member, I remember, loaned me a Cadillac too. Wonderful. Yeah. So Jeremy, can you tell us what are you working on right now besides the Dorian fugue?
Yeah. Well, I took the AAGO exam back in June, and I passed the written part, but the performing part they thought I needed to work on. Mostly it was the transposing. Transposing part I really did not do very well on, and then there was one other part they thought that I needed to work on. So I'm going to retake the playing portion of it, but I'm going to learn a whole new set of literature just to keep myself going. And so I'm working on the Bach A major Prelude and Fugue 536.
Yes.
Georg Bohm's Prelude and Fugue in D minor. Either D minor or G. I think it's D minor. I just got it in the mail the other day.
It is rarely played. Most people play C major.
Yes. This is one of the required pieces on the for the AAGO though. That's the associate for the American Guild of Organists. It's a kind of like getting a bachelor's degree.
Yes.
That's what it's supposed to stand for. Anyway, and then the Hindemith Second Sonata, the first movement of it. I've got most of the fingering worked out on that. I have about a page left to go, and then I'll start like really working on it. And then Louis Viern's Symphony No. 1, the finale.
I think associate's degree or exam is like equivalent of master's degree.
Oh, it could be.
Because service playing certificate is like bachelor's. I would.
Okay. Okay.
And of
course, it's fun to. Again, this is something else that's keeping me on track. It's giving me something to work towards. Several years ago, I realized that I need to have something, a long-term goal, a one time a year thing that I have to work towards and have stuff prepared for to keep myself motivated. And the first one was I received I'm a Mason here in the United States, and it was memorizing all of the degree work and then being able to say it out loud for somebody. Then I realized, you know what, I can start doing this in organ, and so I started working on service playing, and I did the colleague, and now I'm up to the associates, and so. it's another sort of motivation to keep me working towards things.
It's so good that there is this exam system in the US
Yep.
where people can not only formally advance if they're studying at university or college level, they receive degrees, right? But people from all kinds of situations, they can just practice, study, and take those exams, even from different countries, right? You don't have
so.
to go physically to the exam location if you're playing for service playing certificate, I would say, right?
Right.
It could be done by audio recording or video.
Exactly.
But for advanced levels like associate and fellowship levels, then of course physical location is required.
Yep. It was fun because I found out that I was I play on an electro-pneumatic organ at the church I play at. It's a 3-manual Cassavant, and the organ that I took the exam on was a 2-manual Tracker Dobson, and so I had to get used to a completely different organ very quickly when I took that exam. So they gave me 3 hours in the morning to kind of play around with it and figure out the stop list and how to kind of figure things around. So
where did you take this exam?
I took it at Westminster Church in Westminster Presbyterian Church in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
So the same region.
Yep.
Not too far.
And my parents live there. I had the opportunity to go to Kansas City or Minneapolis, and my parents live in Minneapolis, so we made a weekend of it.
Yeah. Well, I hope that next time when you take it, you will be, of course, luckier than last time. It involves a great deal of luck too, taking those exams. It's like a sport or competition, right? Maybe you are well prepared, but maybe just on the test day, exam day, maybe you're not feeling well, right? Or something else is sticking, and or you didn't maybe get enough sleep the night before, and that changes things, right?
And also you deal with the judges' preferences. Whoever's doing the adjudicating, they didn't like how I played the Caesar Franck's piece heroique. And he made the statement. You see, this was a adequate preparation of this piece.
Adequate.
Yeah. And I thought I played it pretty well, but
adequate.
He didn't.
Adequate is good, right? Adequate. It's adequate.
It's adequate. Yeah.
Good. But at least you have passed the written portion, which is nice.
Yeah.
So you say you need to work on a little bit more about transposing, right? What about experimenting with the hymns at church, right? Do you regularly transpose at church, for example?
I've been doing more of it. Usually I just take things up a half step on the last verse.
Yes.
Or something along those lines. So I had a reharmonization of one of the hymns in a new key, so I modulated out of the original key on the spot. That's something else with your encouragement and everything. I've been trying to do a lot more improvisation during church services, and things like that. So a couple weeks ago, I played at a Lutheran church here in town, and I used about 3 or 4 minutes of an improvisation at the end of the prelude and stuff like that. So getting more used to it, I think, is the most important thing. And then, of course, when I'm working on the hymns every week, I do try and transpose them a step in either direction.
Do people know that you are, for example, improvising at church, or are they not aware of this?
I don't think they are aware of it. My wife didn't realize it when I was improvising the other day. So she was standing next to me. She's my page turner, and so I was playing around with the hymn tune, and putting the hymn tune in my left hand, and then playing figurations in my right hand, and some stuff in the pedals. And she didn't realize what I was doing. So I don't think the congregation does. I think we've had that conversation on the base camp that my preludes and postludes tend to not be listened to.
Uh-huh.
People
That's
are having full-blown conversations over the top of it. So one Sunday I played the Messiaen's the Church Eternal,
uh-huh.
Apparition of the Church Eternal, with that 4 F's in the middle of it.
It's difficult to listen to.
Oh yeah, they big C major chord with everything pulled out, and nobody was speaking after that.
Nobody. Yeah, it's a difficult piece not only to play but to listen, right? To
Yep, yep.
experience this um, increasing energy, right? And this
Hmm.
mental gravity that is going towards you, coming towards you. It's really sometimes it doesn't feel well for
Right.
people. It's menacing sometimes.
And keeping it at that slow speed. It
Yes.
says what, 66 to the 8th note. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so slow.
Yeah.
And it just
At
goes
least.
on. It's like the recordings I've listened to, and I think I do it in about 8.5 minutes, but I've heard recordings that are people doing it 9.5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
At least it's faster than Le Banquet Celeste, right?
yeah, I've used that one too.
Uh-huh. But it's softer and
Yep.
gentle and more like meditation, and you could play it
Yes.
for communion. Probably it's easier for listeners, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very glad that you are actually um, trying to your congregation to get used to the new music, right? Not only
Mhm.
to the Dorian fugue, but also to the less classical composers, less known composers. For them, of course, we know
Yep.
Messiaen well, but they might experience it for the first time, and hopefully not for the last time.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Well, I got excited. I heard a piece the other day. There was a organist playing here in town, and he played Charles Tournemire.
Oh.
I've not heard any of it. I had not heard any of his music before, so I'm going to be out looking for some of that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, if people like Charles Tournemire and enjoy modal style improvisations or
Hmm.
short pieces, he has written for every Sunday of the liturgical year, like organ mass in five or so movements, right? You can
Okay.
choose, you can play everything, but you can choose shorter movements, and you could play the last sortie or toccata or fantasy for the postlude too, but it's more advanced. The last piece is always more advanced.
Yeah.
It's longer, and people in France usually play longer pieces for the postludes. But yeah, it's a good introduction to the French modal system, I would say. um, I like it a lot, and some people take it as a model to improvise. I
Hmm.
remember studying a little bit from those scores and playing my own things based on those scores. It really is like a starting point for me sometimes, and I take a chant, a Gregorian chant, for example, and develop the theme based on that model, but in my
Hmm.
own way, maybe on the different theme that Tournemire has done. That works very
Yeah.
well. Do you
I've
think?
I've 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 started doing something similar, like I'll sight read through a piece of music sometime during the week, and then I will try and do an improvisation around what they're doing in that style. Not really gotten to the point of developing ideas too much, or it's really their style. You can tell it's not me.
Mm-hmm,
But it's their. I'm trying to do stuff around what they had done in their pieces.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Great. So, besides transposing, what other challenges are you encountering in your organ playing?
I think we all deal with that idea of having time. I would love to be able to spend 2 or 3 hours a day at the piano and 2 or 3 hours at the organ every day, but with my teaching load and getting everything ready for classes, that's just impossible. Just finding an hour a day is pretty lucky. Um,
You're right. People who write to me those feedback messages about things that they're finding a challenge, really finding time is number one for
Hmm.
everybody. In this day and age, it's very rare that a person is free to do what they want, right?
Yep.
With their day and their time. So yeah, but sometimes we can work on our, you know, priorities. I'm not saying you're not working, of course, but people sometimes I don't know, watch TV instead of
Right.
practice, right? Or
Guilty.
you, me too, Jeremy. It's okay. TV is important. Relaxing is important too.
Yep.
You cannot really hope to be able to practice month after month. Then you get burnout, right? And
Right.
you have to take vacation anyway, right?
Well, this is something I'm doing this year, and it's helping keep my morale up. And just that, you know what? My job every single day is to play and talk about music.
Hmm.
I get paid to do that. That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's a
It's
privilege.
amazing. It's a privilege, and so I'm just trying to. Anytime I sit down at an instrument, I'm trying to think about it as this is just something that I get to do for me. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a piece for a choir or a piece for a singer. I get to play music,
Hmm.
and that's exciting. So it's keeping my morale up for about 2 months now.
Excellent. Jeremy,
Yeah.
I have a question about your classroom and your
Yep.
students. Do they go to, for example, to your church to hear you play?
My church. Most of my students don't. Either they're Catholic,
Hmm.
and I play at a Methodist church,
Yes.
or they're not religious,
Uh-huh.
so they don't attend churches. I've seen a student of mine or two. I've invited them. The opportunity is there. Very rarely do they take me up on it.
So you know what I'm going to suggest now, right? Because I've been a big proponent of recording your own work or my own,
Yes.
right? Because then I can influence my own students all over the world this way, and you could do too. It's very simple. You just upload your cell phone recordings to YouTube or Facebook, whatever you feel, wherever your students are, right? Wherever
Mhm.
they congregate, and suddenly you have a big influence on them besides classroom setting. I know some teachers are hesitant to get involved in social media with their students, right? Because it's
Right.
maybe sometimes viewed as inappropriate. But I would think that this professional level of communication is not a big deal. It never hurts, right? It
Yeah,
only
that's a great idea. I really should do that.
expands your reach.
Yep.
Um, and another thing that I can suggest that really works for people is uh, have you have you ever thought about secrets of organ playing contest
I
about
I have, and every week I get around. I have something, and then I
uh-huh.
forget to record it.
Because you are the
So
person who produces so much material week after week. I mean, you don't have to do anything else. You do whatever you do, and you just put the camera in front of you, right? You talk introduction. Hello guys, this is Jeremy, and this is my piece for this week's contest, and we
yep.
have this special weekly word for each week, so that I could know that this piece is recorded specifically for that week, and then
Right.
you upload it to probably to YouTube channel, and then share this link to your Steemit post, and then we have a number of people participating like this, and those who do week after week, actually they they report a great deal of motivation boost, just like our Basecamp channel, right? But it's on a
Yeah.
practical level. They get motivated to sit down on the organ bench, and it's like a small weekly challenge that they do. And it's
Yeah, I enjoy watching the videos, and every week I think I'm going to do it, and then it goes by, and I just haven't gotten it done. So not this week because I'll be out of town. Next week, I
yes,
will see if I can sit down and get that done.
and
Probably do the Dorian Toccata.
excellent. Dorian will work very well. Yes, and you know, I've just recently talked to James Flores from Australia, who also will be on our podcast. Maybe by the time our listeners will hear our conversation with you, they have already heard James Flores. But never mind. I meant to say that he recorded week after week those pieces, right, that he's playing in church for our contest too. And now he has released a CD because of those. Yeah, he has a complete library of works, archives. He just took audio of that most of the time, and it was good enough, and produced a CD recording. That's how you. And CD is wonderful, not only for you know, like a souvenir, but also for spreading the word about yourself, about your abilities. It's like a evidence of your work, right?
Yeah, and the congregation at the church would actually like that.
Yes.
We have a 15 to 20 people who are pretty dedicated to the organ there, and so they put money into it, and my church is the one who pays for my American Guild of Organists training and all my sponsor what's that called, membership into the guild, and so they treat me very well. So, and they would be actually very happy for me to do that. Wonderful. Thank you for the idea.
Yeah, you're welcome, Jeremy. I'm really glad that that it might work out for you. Okay, you know, some people are shy in front of camera, but obviously you as a teacher, you're not shy. You're natural at this, probably, right? Talking into camera, and you know, talking basically to group of people, and talking to strangers basically, and recording yourself is just another step towards that goal, I would say. Yeah, and if you want, you could send me your preferred username that I could create your Steam account for you. It doesn't have to be your full name. It could be completely anonymous, something else, right? Some other word that you want. It could be your name if you want to keep it professional or personal.
Okay.
That's okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So wonderful! I'm really looking forward to hearing you play and giving you prizes. We have prizes for contest participants. Good.
Well, that's thank you.
That's a long.
Think of what I was going to say.
Good. So we talked about things that you're working on, challenges, right? About some of your goals. You want to take this exam next year, right?
Yep.
Would you like, Jeremy, to play concert recitals in your church, for example?
I'm actually trying to work on something like that. Last year, I did play a fairly short recital down in Council Bluffs for Dr. C at his church. They did a Lenten series there, and I would like to get something like that started at my church. Just on a, I've spoken to the minister, the music minister at the Catholic church here in town. We have a cathedral, and he's on board. I just didn't get it done last year. Just putting 5 weeks of concerts during Lent and having the organ featured in different churches around town, because we have a VEC organ at the cathedral. We have a Cass event at the church I play at. A local organ builder built his own organ for his church. A guy by the name of Rick Darrow. I'd like to feature that on there. Just have people move throughout the city and see the different organs in town. Then also, I'm planning on doing an Advent recital at my church. So another reason, I thought the A major A major prelude and fugue of Bach would work well there. And then a couple of, I have, what's his name? Wayne Warren did a series of variations on the Bach et Auf. And a couple of other pieces, about half hour, 45-minute long recital, just to get our congregation used to coming to organ recitals. Like I told you, I went to this organ recital just this last week here in town, and 10 people were there. It was not good attendance. So.
And I just returned from another recital here in Vilnius Cathedral. They have this weekly series over the summer, and it was full with tourists. You know, it's a capital city, of course, and lots of tourists, and they know the place, and they wander around, and they sit down and listen to 30 minutes of organ music. This is nice. Nice.
That is nice.
Yeah. And in places like other towns, it's not easy to create this tradition because it's never been done before. People are not used to it. They don't know it's important or beautiful. They are not sure they will like it or not, right?
Right.
Do this a little bit week after week or month after month, if it's a monthly recital. I think in a few years it will become a tradition.
Yep.
Yeah. And people regard it as
an hour and a half away from here is Omaha.
Yes.
And that Omaha Guild chapter, they fill churches, and there's concerts going on every week. So the cathedral down there, I'm really excited. They're doing Bach's B minor Mass in March.
Wow.
They're bringing in a group from Kansas City to actually do that in the cathedral down there. But they will fill those churches, and so it's just going to take time. Get people used to change some culture.
Right. And we as organists have, I would say, a little bit of responsibility to do things that are feeling challenging, right? Not staying in the same level. It's easy to do just hymns after week, and everybody likes that and know that works, right? You don't get criticized for that. But if you say, okay, I'm going to try to create a recital series, monthly recitals maybe for starters, or just Lenten recitals, or Advent recitals, or Christmas recitals, just like seasonal music, and then you don't know if people will like it or appreciate it, right? The challenge, it's a bit of a fear, and it's sometimes it's healthy too, you know. It's just too much fear is, of course, too much stress is not healthy, but manageable level of fear, it's okay. It's okay because has been done before in other places. So you have many examples, and you learn from mistakes perhaps, and you grow from there.
Yep. I don't know if this happens at your where you play, but I'd never get positive feedback from the church members.
Never.
Well, I shouldn't say never. I'll hear, I loved what you played today. You know, one or two people will say stuff. But if you really mess up, then the feedback comes back. So that's my fear with that. Trying to start an Advent series or a Lenten series is that the negative people will come out, and the positive people won't say anything to me about it.
Well, you see, it's so symptomatic to human behavior and human condition in general. Let's say you earn $100, right? How much joy do you feel? Well, probably a little bit. But if you lose or $100 gets stolen from you, what do you? It's suddenly much more powerful emotion, right?
Yeah, that's true.
This negative thing. So the same is with mistakes. People are noticing them much more than correct playing, flawless playing.
Right.
Because flawless playing feels natural, and it's just the way it is, right? It has to be like this. But if somebody messes up something or stops in the middle of the piece and repeats something, starts over, It's very noticeable. So whatever you do, if you feel like you are making mistakes, whatever you play, just keep going. Never mind
Yep.
the notes. Never mind. I think the most important thing is to keep the rhythm constant. And notes
Exactly.
take care of themselves. Notes are less important.
Right. Right. That's what I'm trying to instill in my students now. That just don't stop. Get to the end.
Yeah.
We can go back and fix it.
And it get easier with experience, of course. Every 10th recital, you will get a discovery of some sorts, and it will get easier with every 5 or 10 recitals. You will get discovery about yourself, about the music that you play, about your instrument, even about your audience. Right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm thinking, what could you do to encourage people to comment positively about your playing? You could actually ask them. That would be like
That's
very self confident thing to do. But if you don't ask, people don't know if you need any feedback, right? Maybe
that's true.
after liturgy, you have some time to communicate with them, talk to them. Maybe they get to drink some coffee or so. In some churches they do, at least. So
Yep.
maybe during that time you could come to a person or two and ask, what do you think about that piece, or my ending, or my beginning, or things like that. Sometimes you have to ask open-ended questions that they would expand on it, instead of saying
Yeah.
yes or no.
Yep. I should do that. You're right.
Being a little proactive.
I usually my wife and I clean up around the music area, and then we get out of the church as quickly as possible.
Ah, okay. Mingle a little bit with
Yeah, I should mingle a bit.
Yeah, so that they notice that you're around, and maybe they're not seeing you around, and that's the reason they cannot comment on your playing positively,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Could be. Just 10 minutes would do, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a coffee and donuts immediately following the services, so
Wonderful.
I should do that.
So, Jeremy, we talked about all kinds of things, things that you are working on, your goals, your challenges, right? What about your inspirations? What things that you find inspiring in your work or around your work? Some things that you could share today that would be very inspiring to other people, perhaps.
Well, the first thing that I always find inspiring is going to concerts.
Mm-hmm.
If I get an opportunity to go hear live music, and usually when I get done with concerts, I want to go practice. That gets me realizing, oh, I can do this, or I can try this out, and I want to do this, or I want to really get this piece up to that speed. I've been reading for getting ready for that AGO exam. I've been reading a lot of the old manuals and things like that. So again, that gives me ideas to try out on the organ. When I'm in my office, I usually have a YouTube channel on and be having either piano music or organ music going on in the background. One of my big purchases about a year ago, and I've been working my way through it, at an estate sale, somebody had the complete works of Bach on CD. It's 99 CDs. And so I've been working my way through that as well. I'm finally finishing up the cantatas. There's like 23 of the CDs. It's amazing. Also, I'm hooked on Amazon.
Yeah.
So when they have deals on DVDs, so I have like the Piano Legends, Marta Argerich, and Alfred Brendel DVDs of them playing, and so I'll sit down and watch them sometimes. That's kind of what keeps me going. Of course, and I also currently I only have one organ student, and watching him take one of those leaps forward. He's playing the Guilmant Magnificat. I'm having him learn that entire thing for a recital, and one of the Bach little preludes and fugues. And at one point, it went from him taking that opening movement at like half speed him playing it up to tempo in the course of 15 minutes and listening to him make that jump was really fun. It scared the kid. I mean, he was terrified that he was going that fast, but he was playing it accurately and really quite well, I thought. So that was, when something like that happens, it feels really good and it's inspiring.
I hope you will share this conversation with him when it goes live.
Yeah, I was jumping around when he did it, so he knew I was really excited. So
he will appreciate.
But, yeah, yeah.
Wonderful. So Jeremy, I think one more thing would be really helpful for people who are in your situation, who love to go to organ concerts and recitals. After coming back home, it would be nice to notate something in a notebook or a special, I don't know, place online where, like a blog or even on social media, if they're feeling comfortable sharing their thoughts about what they heard, you know, what went on, like a little review. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be advanced. It's like a little journal of your own thoughts. And as you say, you like to think about music, and this gets you to the next level easier, right? So the same here about thinking about those organ recitals that you heard, or even about Bach cantatas that you listen to from CDs, is a big thing, because after 5 years you will forget what you listened today or the day before today, right? But then you could come back to those old archives and really look at things that were interesting to you now and think what has changed, what has not, your interests, maybe your level, your skill level. And this will be like a big archive for you and maybe future generations who will research your life and work in the next millennium.
Oh, posterity.
Yes.
Yeah, I've started putting it up. I've been trying to interact more with the students up at Briarcliff through a Facebook account. It's a Briarcliff Choirs Facebook account, and I've been posting stuff up there. I've been actively going and speaking to musicians after concerts and getting pictures with them, and then posting these ideas up on that account, so that they'll see I'm out doing things and I'm out listening to other musicians and enjoying it. It's in Sioux City, it's often thought there's not anything going on, and that's just not true. There's lots going on. It just may not be something that they're interested in.
Yes. So Jeremy, as we are trying to wrap up this conversation, could you go back 15 years in time when you first started playing the organ, right? What is number one thing you wish you knew back then that might have helped you?
I wish I had a slightly better organ technique, because I played the organ like a piano.
Yes.
A lot more arm motion and a lot more weight transferring through the fingers from the arm. And it's a habit I'm trying to get out of now with Dr. C's help. So I've been taking lessons with Dr. C for 3 years. And I think I'm finally getting around to just using fingers and fingertips and keeping my fingers on top of the keys. I wish I had paid more attention to performance practice fingerings. I love watching your recordings of the Bach, all the Bach things that we're transcribing, because it's fun to watch those fingerings. I'm going, that's just not how I do it as a pianist and playing modern piano. But it's fun watching that fingering and realizing all the historical stuff that's going on because of that fingering. So that I have to fix things now that 15 years ago I just didn't know about. That would be a big thing.
Yeah. So that would be very helpful for other people who want to follow your footsteps, Jeremy, right, in the future. And excellent. And for people who would like to connect with you, is there a way to do this? Email, perhaps? What would
Yep.
you?
I do have. I'm of course up on Facebook. I shouldn't say public figure. You can contact me on Facebook at just Jeremy Owens. I have the painting of Faust is my profile picture.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you can contact me through my email address, which is Jeremy, Jeremy, Owens, Owens, at briarcliff.edu.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jeremy. This was very exciting time for me to talk to you for an hour and get to know you better, and keep doing what you're doing. You're really in a great shape, and in 6 months from now, I hope you will become master organist, master transposer also.
I hope so too.
All right.
Just keep working on it.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
This blog is supported by Total Organist, the most comprehensive organ training program online, where you will find courses for every area of organ playing, including technique, practice, sight reading, repertoire playing, hymn playing, improvisation, composition, music theory, and harmony, with hundreds of scores and thousands of exercises. Here is what some of the students are saying.
Hugh writes, "The sight reading course has helped me tremendously. Thank you very much for your essays, courses, and all your help."
Robert writes, I found the fingerings, registration ideas, and general comments to be excellent.
John writes, "I have found your download very helpful. It was really excellent. I have watched some of your teaching videos, and when I read your instructions, I tried to imagine you were teaching me. You may feel disappointed that I am 2-3 days behind, but I am a slow learner, and I have committed to taking the time to get it right, as you say. But the other night my wife commented that she had never heard me play such a detailed melody in the left hand so well. My left hand is generally poor."
Robert writes, it has been a great pleasure in my life of having discovered your courses and material, as well as the YouTube work of recordings. You have a calm and pleasant way of teaching.
Ron writes, "Hi Vidas and Ausra, thank you guys. What a wonderful response to my email note to you. You've got me right, and I feel you understand my level of playing. Yes, at home, and lucky that I have an organ for that reason. I am paying attention to this, and I am going to try this haha no longer secret model. Yes, and I love Cesar Frank too. What is very nice about your blog podcast is that Ausra and Vidas are like a Socratic dialogue, and by bouncing things off of each other, so much more information comes out and is expressed. Your comments contain a wealth of information and understanding. I really appreciate this. It is very inspiring and will keep us moving forward."
Would you like to receive the same or even better results that our students are getting? If so, join them at organduo.lt/total-organist. And of course, you will get the first month free too. You can cancel anytime.
Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to receive free updates of this blog, make sure you do that at organduo.lt. By subscribing, you will also receive free video, how to master any organ composition, and 10-day organ playing mini course.
This was Vidas.
And Ausra from Secrets of Organ Playing.
And remember, when you practice,
Miracles happen.